We got to talk about everything that's happened this week in the world of gaming, from multiple live service games at Sony being canceled, a wild rumor that Grand Theft Auto 6 might cost $100, and EA being accused of using actual war photos to promote the next Battlefield, and a lot more to get into. Earlier this week, Jason Schreier of Bloomberg reported that Sony canceled 2 more PlayStation projects in broader retreat. Both these games came from none other than Ben Studio and Blue Point Games, who were both working on live service projects, as well as a Horizon MMO got scrapped as well. This was supposed to come out of the strategic partnership, as they called it, with NCSoft, where at the time Jim Ryan, who was at PlayStation, had said, quote, "Partnering with NCSoft advances our strategy to expand beyond console and broaden PlayStation's reach to a wider audience. Like SIE, NCSoft shares a similar vision in creating high quality, impactful entertainment experiences for players everywhere, and together we're excited to collaborate to push the boundaries of gaming further." Now, it is believed that the Horizon live service game coming out of Guerrilla Games is still in the works, but at this rate, I wouldn't be surprised if that gets canceled, and I think it should, because you should just have them work on something that they're good at, and that is making single player games and not something that they're really unfamiliar with. And if they were to scrap this Horizon live service game, then the big question would be, okay, well, what would they work on? If you were to ask me what they would work on or should, I would like to see a brand new IP, because I would be remiss to say, and I may be the only one in this camp, I don't want to see Horizon 3. Like, do something else, make a new IP, or go back to Killzone, something. Because we got 2 Horizon games. I like the first one more than the second one, and I want to see something different that's not a live service. Just like everybody else has said up to this point, I really would not have liked the idea to see a God of War live service game. It could have worked, I don't know, but we know Blue Point's be more talented than just working on a live service game. Like, they're talented enough to not only work on a brand new IP, but develop multitude of remakes that's in the PlayStation vault. There's been this hot rumor that Grand Theft Auto 6 will cost as much as $100. According to analyst Matthew Ball, he has a new report saying that there's, quote, hope within the video game industry that Take-Two will bump up the price for GTA 6 to $100. That's just for the standard edition. Now, this is something that's been widely speculated and talked about. Do I think it'll realistically be $100? Hell no, because that could set a dangerous precedent for the games industry, where, you know, anytime Rockstar sneezes a certain way, the game industry tends to follow. So I think it'll probably be industry standard at this point, $70, and that's it. It would be surprising if they just said, hey, let's just release GTA 6 for $60 instead of $70. I'm not saying that they would do that realistically. They probably just keep it at base $70 and probably have a $100 special edition or 5-star edition, whatever they want to call it. But if every game was to come out at $100, there's only a few games that people would gladly pay $100 for, like Call of Duty, the sports games, and Grand Theft Auto. If everybody else tried that, it would be a death blow. It would be a walking death sentence for the entire industry. Alas, this is something I don't think is going to happen, and I don't like the excuse, oh, it costs a lot more money to make video games. I think if y'all just lower your budgets and have a bigger return on investment, y'all wouldn't even be here, but that's neither here nor there. EA got accused of using Gaza war photos to promote the next Battlefield. This was pointed out by a Twitter user who said, damn, DICE is using pictures from attacks on Gaza in their Battlefield 2025 artwork, then showed a pic on May 12, 2021. And if you see the comparison right here, you do see that both plumes of smoke and fireball look very similar to the one being used in the artwork below. Only difference is that looks like a different building than the one you see right here used in the real life photo. Now, if you were to ask me what happened, I think somebody used Photoshop and they just photoshopped this plume of smoke and then just slapped it on some Battlefield artwork, which it does kind of make people question if this whole thing was stolen from some type of real life war event. I don't think they did this with any type of malicious intent on purpose, but this is one big oopsie by DICE and EA, and I hope they clean this up. The CEO of Insomniac Games, Ted Price, will be retiring from games industry in March. Now, the studio veterans Chad Durzin, Ryan Schneider, and Jen Huang will become Insomniac Games' new co-studio heads. But as far as Insomniac having new leadership, do I think it's cause for concern? Yes and no. Yes, in the sense of we haven't even had Wolverine come out yet, and you had the head of the company end up retiring from the games industry altogether. But at the same time, not really, because he himself is not working on this Wolverine game. Now, if the Wolverine game was already out and about, I think after the Wolverine game, there's not much we know about what's next for Insomniac. So if it was out and about, we wouldn't even care if he would be stepping down. But I can kind of see both sides to this argument. I can understand why somebody would be concerned, and I can understand why somebody would kind of look at this like it's another sandwich. And for all we know, I think that Wolverine is still supposed to be slated to come out sometime this year. So hopefully we'll get some gameplay out of it this summer, as well as a whole release date. EA blames underperformance of Dragon Age and EA FC 25 as it lowers forecast. EA did say back on Wednesday that Dragon Age The Veilguard engaged around 1.5 million players during the 3 months ended in December, which it said was nearly half of its expectations. During Q3, we continued to deliver high quality games and experiences across our portfolio. However, Dragon Age and EA Sports FC 25 underperformed our net bookings expectations, according to CEO Andrew Wilson. And interestingly enough, Jason Schreier decided to private his Twitter page, and people may be asking why. And it's simply because back when the game came out and it was hitting all the Steam charts and stuff like that, it was shattering records for the franchise or whatever. He tried his best to do a little bit of trolling, even though I think as a games journalist and insider who reports on factual information, you shouldn't be out here trolling like that, because you're going to end up biting off a little bit more than you could chew. And that's exactly what happened here, where he was saying, oh, even though I don't like the game all that much, as long as it's a massive hit to own you chuds or something like that, y'all get the idea. I think what he should have done from the jump with this is just, you know, give his thoughts on whether or not it's a hit or not and be done with it instead of doing the little trolling. Now, if he wanted to troll, he could have made a burner account to do it and nobody would have cared. But because he did it on his on Main Street no less, then here we are. He getting dragged right now. Now keep in mind, historically, Dragon Age has been that franchise to really have long-winded legs, in a sense, where it may not make all the money day one, but it'll make money over time. Just look at Dragon Age Inquisition. It sold 12 million copies or something like that over a 10-year period, and that was over time. It didn't make all that money day one initially. And people has kind of been worried about BioWare. Where does this put the Mass Effect game at? Does it put on hold? Does it put on ice? Will BioWare go up in smoke? I doubt it, because like I've said in the past before, EA has already spent its money investing in Mass Effect. So whether people like it or not, the next Mass Effect game is coming out. Now, after that, we don't know. That might be the last game. Hopefully not, depending on how the course of that game goes. We just got to wait and see. If you shutter BioWare, you shutter Edmonton, then what happens with this Mass Effect game? That means you damn near got to restart development, and it pushes the game back an extra, what, 2-3 years. And people just got to understand, like, the money's already spent, the investment's already been made, and it's still scheduled to come out, and I can't see that changing anytime soon. Now, almost a week ago, I covered a story that involved Smash JT talking about the possible closure of BioWare Edmonton. This came with a little bit of controversy because Jeff Grubb, he basically took credit for this whole thing, and a whole bunch of other publications, mainstream publications that ran with the notion and gave credit to Jeff Grubb instead of Smash JT or Grums. And look, I don't fuck with Grums. I may not agree with everything that Smash JT has to say, but I still think that they should have been credited for being the original source, even if you don't like them and y'all all in cahoots with one another. Because I would agree with the sentiment about, like anybody else would, that it is wrong to steal somebody's work and not credit them for it and say, hey, this is who I got it from. And not just with Jeff Grubb, but with these major publications that's been printing out articles. Now, that being said, y'all let me know what you think about these stories in the comments below. Till next time, I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.